Hi there, Rob here, and I'm going to move on and do a curved slider or adjuster. Similar technique to the square one, but slightly different as well to get the outside. So that's what we're going to end up with. So I'll just hide that away, go onto my adjusters layer, and to get a sort of lozenge shape, the rounded rectangle tool could be used, but rather than just have a small round on there, I'm going to click to bring up my dialog box to enter the actual shape, and I'm going to do it 25mm wide, 10mm high, and the corner radius is going to be exactly half the height, and that will give us the perfect curve at each end. Now you can't make a corner radius that's more than half the height or the width of your shape because it can't actually overlap. See, I can't actually increase that any more than 5. So if it's exactly half the height, it will have this complete curve at each end. Now to get the other side of the adjuster, I'll use the same technique before. If I hit the enter key, it'll bring up my move box, and I'm going to move it the height of the original shape plus an extra 2mm, so I get a 2mm gap in between the two. So that's 12mm. Click copy, and then we have two objects there. Now rather than draw a shape around it, what I'm going to do is use the offset path command, and that will offset a path around both of these shapes. You can offset more than one path at a time, so if I select both of those paths at the moment, both those round corner rectangles, object, path, offset path, and I want my offset to be 2mm. That will give me a 2mm surround here. If I click on the preview, you can see how it started doing the right thing, although it's not quite right here, but we can easily fix that. So if I make my offset path, and then if I go and hide the original two objects, I've got this interlocking outer. To get rid of the interlocking part here and make it just a perfect surround, select them both, and I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool, the Pathfinder panel. I'm going to use the Unite shape mode. So it's this one here. Basically, we'll unite both of these shapes that overlap into one outline shape. So if I just click that there, and you can see how it's got rid of the bit in the middle. So if I bring back my original rectangles, and there we have the start of a curved adjuster. Now again, we have to do the compound path to make sure that it can fill and overlap things. So remember that the thing that you want the holes to be coming out of needs to be at the bottom of the layer order. So that's my path there. I'll drag that down underneath the two other rectangles. So I've got the upper and the lower one above the outer one. Select all three, and then right click, make compound path, and if I fill that with any color, then I get a nice single shape. And if I drag that over the other one, you can see how you can see through the holes there. Now if I want to show these with a tape or a strap or any kind of thing going through them, we can use a little bit of trickery. An easy way of drawing a nicely centered tape through, if I just used my smart guides, so make sure that your smart guides are turned on under the view menu, and as I hover over about the center of that object, see how the pink line, the guide, comes up. So if I just click and drag that line segment down there, hold down the shift key to get it perfectly vertical, let go, and then all I'm going to do is just increase the width of the stroke. It'll increase it across the middle. If I just adjust that so I get rid of the round cap, I'll make sure it's got the butt cap or the square end to it, and I'll just increase the width of that stroke until it's the width that I want my strap to be, and then I can convert that into a shape, from a path into a shape, by going object, path, outline stroke, and it will draw the path or draw the object around that shape there. So now I have a perfect rectangle. You could easily draw a rectangle that shape and center the two. It's just a different way of doing it. And with all things Adobe, there's always more than one way of doing many things. So all I'm going to do there is just make sure I've got no fill. Actually, I'll fill this with light grey just so I can make the distinction between the different parts, and I'll give that a stroke. I'll give it half a millimeter stroke. So to get the effect of the tape passing over or under part of something, quite easy technique really. We can use our Pathfinder tool again, and I'll do two different versions here. I'll do one going under the middle bar, and I'll do one going over the middle bar. So I'll just Alt and drag with Shift held down, drag that one there just so I've got one in the square, and I can use my Align tool just to align those two on the centers there. So for this one on the left, I want to show the middle of this adjuster and hide the top and the bottom. And for this one on the right hand side, I want to hide the middle adjuster and show the top and the bottom. So same command we'll be using in the Pathfinder panel, but two slightly different approaches. So to show the middle, I'm going to need to send this object to the back, or so I can right click, arrange, send to back, so it's underneath. But I want it to actually go over the center here. So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to make a copy of this, and if I go edit, copy, edit, paste in front, and I'll put that on top of the adjuster there, just to make it easier to see. I'll hide the original one, and then all I'm going to do is just drag this so it's a little bit smaller, so it just overlaps the part of the adjuster that I want to hide. Now what I'm going to do is use the Pathfinder panel, and I'm going to use this minus front option. So when I've got two objects selected, using this button will take the front object and take it away from the rear object, or the one behind, like that. And now all I need to do is bring my path back, and you can see how at the moment it goes over and under. Now we've got a slight bit of well, this doesn't look quite right. The reason being is the stroke on this object is 0.75 millimeters, and the stroke on the strap itself is only 0.5 millimeters. So if I make those the same width stroke, and you can see how it nicely works together. So just by cutting out that middle section, it gives the optical illusion of the tape or the strap passing over the middle, and because that strap is behind this object, it's actually going behind these two pieces here. The opposite way, with doing having it so it goes over the outers and under the inner here, similar sort of thing. So if I'm going to make a copy, and I'll paste that in the back, and I'll just hide up all the other extra bits here. So if I just get rid of my square adjuster there, just to make it a little easier to see things in the layers panel. So if I hide that copy I made of the rectangle there, so what I want to do is get rid of the top part of my ring adjuster and the bottom part. So I'm going to Alt and drag that top part, and hold down Shift just to keep it vertically aligned. So I've got a copy, so I've got two parts that are overlapping the top and the bottom. I'm going to use the same command I used before on the square adjuster, but with the two rectangles top and bottom over the curved adjuster. If I use the minus front option, it cuts a hole in the top and the bottom there, so that when I bring the path back, it gives us the illusion that it's actually going behind here and over there. And again, we've got the same issue of slightly different stroke weights, making it look slightly odd there, doesn't look so neat. So if I just select the rectangle and make that have the same stroke weight there, and there we've got the illusion of the tape going under the center there. So you've got two versions going through, so just punching a hole or cutting out the shape that you need and leaving the rest behind.